Redwood Newsmakers is being brought to you by your local U.S. Cellular stores.
The Pa-A-Ma Paddle Club from Orleans was recently awarded a grant from the First Nations Development Institute, and the grant supports the Rios to Rivers Paddle Tribal Waters program. And here to talk about this important program for Native youth is Amata Lang. She's the Director of Outdoor Adventure and Cultural Education for Rios to Rivers. Hi, Amata.
Hi, thank you for having me today.
Yeah. So can you tell us more about the Pa-A-Ma Paddle Club and, for instance, where did the name come from?
Yeah, so myself being a Kaduk person, I have been trying to just reconnect to my culture growing up. It's always been something that I've looked for, and youth too. It's a good way to connect with youth and their culture, and I feel like language is a great way to connect. And so I thought about the title being Pa is boat or canoe, in Kaduk, and Ama is salmon, and so kind of the idea of boating for salmon and having that kind of meaning behind those words and choice.
So what does the club do? Tell us a little bit about the Paddle Club.
So it's kind of an offshoot of paddle clubs from supported through Rios to Rivers, and so I try to think of Rios to Rivers as the main top tier, and there's an umbrella programs off of it, and so Paddle Tribal Waters is one huge one, but now with the creation of Pa-A-Ma, I was able to get a fiscal sponsorship with Rios, and it's basically a whitewater paddle club for Kaduk Native youth and families. And Paddle Tribal Waters youth have the training to also kayak, and so they're available to the programming as well, and hopefully it'll expand into more opportunities for a lot of Native youth is my idea.
Well, speak about opportunities. Didn't you just have a couple of members come back from South America?
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, so we've actually, a little spiel, it's our second time coming back, and so last year we went to South America, Chile. We had interconnections with the cultural exchanges with the Mapuche Puenche people, and they are having the same fight for dam removal on their home rivers, and so we were actually fortunate enough to go back for a second time. We call it the Paddle Tribal Waters Academy, and we kind of give it a little bit of a spin there. But it's an accredited high school and middle school from 8th grade on through. And basically we have 8th graders and high schoolers graduate with us, and they get an indigenized curriculum that our staff actually created to be taught. And I was one of the teachers last year, so I did about 3 to 4 months straight working programming, school in the daytime, and then kayaking right after school.
Well, let's talk about the Paddle Tribal Waters program on the Klamath River this summer, and because that's a pretty big event for you.
Yes, it's basically the reason why we went to South America. It's kind of connecting with the idea of a free-flowing river on our ancestral territories and having those exchanges with people that are continuing that fight. And we're almost, in a sense, it's the biggest dam removal in the world.
Right.
So there are huge eyes and from everywhere, from the whitewater community to our Native community to Native communities around the world that are seeing inspiration through our youth and our programs.
Sure, and all the stakeholders involved.
And everything down to, I personally would not be able to be a kayaker or be where I am without all of the support through from the top-notch instructors down to the support of the brands.
So this is going to be a 30-day journey down the now undammed Klamath River, and this is kind of through the eyes of Native youth advocating for free-flowing rivers, correct, around the world?
Yes, and the idea of free-flowing rivers and kind of touching on the idea of community support. The reason why I'm here today, we were awarded a $60,000 grant to support the first descent from the First Nations Development Institute, and it was directed towards Pa-A-Ma for events in Kaduk territory. So as we're paddling through Kaduk territory, we'll be able to hold events for the community to come out and engage more of an information on kind of what's happening, what our message, at least we're trying to share with the community, is through the youth's eyes.
Can you talk about the movement and, more importantly, about the Native youth involved?
Yes, the movement is multi-year running in the sense of even generations. I say the fight for dam removal is huge, and the fight for what happens on our rivers and having our voices be heard through that. And so this is almost a fun way, I feel like, to gain attention to a huge, awesome, in the sense, I guess that's the most easiest term I could put out there that explains how I'm feeling inside, but it's honestly life-changing for our community, and the world around us, in a sense, is looking at what's going to happen with this trajectory, and these students that have been training, and these watching it from the start to finish has been insane, and these kids have put in a lot of work to be Native representation for their home communities, go across the world and do that, and also gain the skills to be able to say they're class 4, class 5 active kayakers in whitewater, and that is something where you have to continuously be on the water, progress, look for more opportunities for yourself, and these kids are going above and beyond that, along with upholding their culture and themselves while doing so.
Yeah. If you'd like to learn more about the Paddle Travel Waters program and follow along with their programming, go to rios2rivers.org and also check out Pa'ama on Instagram and Facebook. Amada Lang, thanks for joining us today.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having us, and I look forward to meeting more awesome community members through this journey.